Welcome to John Redmann, Power of Attorney, the show that aims to empower you through knowledge of the law. I'm Attorney John Redmann.
And hello, everyone. I'm Shauna Sanford. Welcome to the show. Gambling is a billion-dollar industry in the United States, and as March Madness approaches, it's a sure bet that this is a subject on many people's minds. But there are many legal issues to untangle when it comes to gambling.
Louisiana is a state well known for its gambling, and the laws surrounding gambling can be a little confusing. Where casinos are involved and where other gaming is involved. Which kinds of sports betting are legal? How much of your winnings are taxable? What about your office pools and fantasy sports leagues? Well, to get to these questions, and we will get to these questions and much more with Dale Hall, chairman of the Louisiana Gaming Control Board.
That's right. He is the man with all the answers, and he's going to join us in just a little bit. But before we get to our guest, John, let's just talk a little bit about gambling, because it is big, not just here in Louisiana, but all over the country. And there's internet gaming, we have casinos, there's so many different venues for gaming or gambling, and we'll find out the differences between those two words there. But this is a huge issue, and it's something that people need to be aware of the laws, because you could get into a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to be that old to remember walking into your typical restaurant or bar and not see those slot machines absolutely everywhere. Today, it seems like they are everywhere, adding a dinging, ringing soundtrack to that video poker soundtrack to everything. Now it seems like it's absolutely everywhere. And that's just one significant segment of the gaming industry. Everybody with computers at their home. That's right. Not everybody, but so many people are gambling online. That, by and large, is illegal, by the way.
That's right.
But we're going to talk about that.
That's right. It's a great point that you make. It is illegal, but it's something that's happening all over the country. We're going to get some information on that. Coming up next, Louisiana Gaming Control Board Chairman Dale Hall joins us with some important information about the state's gambling laws that could keep you out of trouble. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. The Louisiana Gaming Control Board regulates all gaming activities in Louisiana, and the chairman of the board, Dale Hall, joins Power of Attorney to go over what the law has to say about what is a favorite pastime for many people here in our state.
Before being appointed to his position by Governor Jindal, Chairman Hall was a 33-year veteran of the Louisiana State Police and retired as Assistant Superintendent of the State Police. Mr. Hall, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining us. Why don't we plunge right in? Tell us, what is gaming, gambling, what's the difference, and define what is gaming and gambling.
Certainly. First of all, if you would, let me thank you for allowing me to be here. It's a pleasure. It is a matter of semantics, and to some degree, and if you would, but if you look at the state's constitution, it charges the legislature, the state legislature, with defining and suppressing gambling.
Suppressing gambling.
Correct. So one of the things that they have done is, in those activities that they have determined they would like to legalize in Louisiana, are generally termed gaming rather than gambling.
So when the Constitution says suppress gambling, which means don't do gambling, they call it something else and then they do it?
Correct. But
that's like the Louisiana politician.
That's exactly right. Well, but the legislature has the authority to do that, and they look at it and viewed it from the approach of economic development, and it certainly is for this state. I mean, it brings in a lot of money every year.
Yeah, we're talking about $1 billion, right?
Actually, you're looking at direct taxes or fees to the state from the gaming industry are about $800 million a year. That does not count the salaries for the 16,000 people employed in the gaming industry in Louisiana, or the construction that goes on. A project just finished in Baton Rouge with a riverboat, where they spent $380 million in construction. So
plus all the money that comes in from all the tourists who come into town and stay in the hotels and eat in the restaurants and spend money in the tourist shops and
exactly
all
right.
That other money.
The casino market, the riverboat market in Lake Charles is probably 75 to 80% out of state. People coming into Louisiana from the Texas area, the border, and as far as Houston market, coming into Louisiana to gamble. And it is the same way in Shreveport. They draw greatly from the the Dallas market. Here in New Orleans, you know, the tourism that is here and the casino that is here and the riverboats are a great draw for, it's just an added entertainment, if you will, for people that are coming to enjoy.
There's a negative side to it. Maybe we'll get to that later, but let me let you finish defining what gambling and gaming is.
So gaming actually is that which is the legislature has decided to legalize. And what they expressed in their statutes authorizing gaming a very distinct public policy, in that they wanted a controlled gaming industry to promote economic development, but they wanted to protect the general welfare of the state's people by keeping it free from criminal and corrupt elements. And in so doing, they wanted it strictly regulated. And that was why the board was created. The Gaming Control Board is a sole and exclusive regulatory and supervisory board for gaming operations in the state of Louisiana.
And it does have a corrupt history to it. I mean, here in the state, when you think about it, I mean, certainly there's been a lot of corruption associated with gaming and gambling, and we'll use those terms interchangeably. But just for our viewers' sake, so that we understand, gambling is illegal. Correct. Gaming is legal.
And there are statutes, and criminal statutes, that define what you can and can't do, which is part of what we're going to talk about today. And there are criminal statutes that make those definitions really fairly clear. And I think one of the things that you have to look at, those aside from the things that the land-based casino, the riverboat casinos, slots at the tracks, video poker, horse racing, and the lottery have been defined as legal in Louisiana. And there are boards or commissions that regulate each of those.
So all of those don't fall under your board?
No, they do not. All but the racing industry is under the Racing Commission. There is a Racing Commission, and there's a separate lottery commission that regulates the lottery. And there's also one that usually gets left out, but it shouldn't, and that's charitable gaming.
Right.
But charitable gaming is regulated by the Department of Revenue. So your land-based casino, your riverboats, video poker, and slots to tracks are regulated by the Gaming Control Board.
How many casinos do we have here, land-based and riverboat?
Well, we have one land-based casino in Orleans Parish only, but we have 15 riverboat licenses across the state, 13 of which are in operation. There are 2 that are under construction right now, one set to open in Shreveport, Margaritaville, the last part of the summer. And then there's another under construction in Lake Charles, Maristar. Is building a very large project next door to Pinnacle, which there's proposal by Pinnacle to buy that
also
gaming
this
property.
year.
That'll open in the summer of 2014 next year.
All right. Okay.
Huge project, $500 million project. That one is.
That is huge.
So video poker, that's the slot machines and in all the different
bars and restaurants and things like that. Also, what you see in truck stops, those are video poker machines, and they play some type of poker game. Is authorized to be played on those. And there are probably 14,000 video poker machines around the state, and that in like 2,600 locations. I mean, but there are only 31 parishes that authorize video poker. As you recall, there was a local option election which allowed parishes to determine whether or not they wished to have any form of gaming available in their parish. And the majority of parishes did not. There are 31 parishes that did. And so the video poker is restricted to those 31 parishes.
When it comes to the laws concerning gaming, what are some of the most important things that you want to get out there to the public? What are some common misconceptions that you find that public generally has when it comes to gaming here in Louisiana?
Well, one is that you have to be 21 years old, and that's very clear. You can't engage in any gaming that's legal in the state of Louisiana if you're under 21 years old.
Any of the gaming that you just described, that age limit applies across the board.
21 years old. And so that's one thing that everyone needs to be concerned with, because there are quite a number of people who attempt to enter casinos underage.
Can a 21-year-old have his 19-year-old girlfriend stand next to him when he plays video poker?
Not. Should not. They should
should not even be standing next to them.
Right. The video poker machines in bars or restaurants should be segregated from the restaurant, and to enter that area, you need to be 21 years old.
Okay. All right.
So.
Can a 19-year-old go to the racetrack with her 21-year-old significant other?
I believe so.
Okay. Sorry, I don't
That's
do a lot.
okay.
I don't do a lot of gaming. Got a lot of
no,
money
it's okay,
to do that, so.
and we don't regulate the horse races, and that's why I have an
Okay,
issue
all
with
right.
one of those.
All right,
But I believe they can. They're just not allowed to bet.
Okay.
Okay, so the age is very important for people to know. It's 21.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are some of the other really important need-to-knows?
That there are out there in some places machines that are gray market, if you will. There are some bars and restaurants we still find that may have machines that are not legal, and the bar or restaurant is not permitted to, has not gone through suitability background and is not permitted by the state to have those. There are things that you would notice, such as they don't have the proper signage telling you they don't have their license displayed, things like that, in the area where you would be gaming. If none of that is visible, then you need to ask the bar, whoever's attending that bar or restaurant, whether or not those machines are legal before you engage in gaming.
Are there tough restrictions in place for businesses that do want to have the machines there? Or what steps do they have to go through in order to legally get those?
They have to apply and meet suitability, and the suitability standards are fairly strict. And there are a lot of applications that are rejected because, one, they're not a legitimate business, bar or restaurant, or truck stop. And the other is the people who own them or own a major interest in them or receive 5% or more of the proceeds from them are not suitable because of their background.
Maybe they have felony convictions.
Correct. And there's a list of statutory
list,
exclusions and. So
all right, let me change the focus
Sure.
a little bit. We mentioned earlier that tons of people engage in friendly gaming or gambling amongst friends, or they get on the internet and they go to these websites who probably promise them it's okay because they're offshore, they're not controlled by U.S. laws. That's not something you regulate because it's illegal, right?
Correct. And there are criminal statutes that prohibit those.
They can get into trouble as far as you're aware. That's something
Yes.
that the district attorney or other outfits, federal or otherwise, regulate. Just to be clear, it's illegal to go online and bet money. Is that your understanding?
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Betting a friendly bet amongst friends in your living room
Is not illegal, and there's a number of mechanisms that are used. People, like, you want to have a card game in your home. As long as no one is taking a cut, you're not taking a cut for hosting that game in your home, and the money that is wagered and divided, goes to the winner, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
Just like there is nothing wrong with a board, like people buy squares on a board, as long as that money is all
like
dispersed.
a Super Bowl
Right.
board or a
Correct.
March
And
Madness
you're
board
at
in your
work,
home.
as long as all the money that is wagered is dispersed, then it's not illegal as long as someone's not doing it for profit or to take a cut.
And to be clear, your board does not deal with law enforcement, although you're concerned about internet gambling.
Absolutely.
But your board does not deal with law enforcement on that end.
On that issue, no, they do not. The matter of fact, state police and local law enforcement authorities would deal with that. In fact, state police does all the investigations for the Gaming Control Board, and the Attorney General acts as the attorney for the Gaming Control Board. So whatever investigations that we would initiate would be carried out by state police.
By and large, do you think the public really understands and realizes that internet gaming is illegal?
No, I don't think they do. And it's not just illegal as far as the state is concerned. The state has a statute prohibiting it. It's also a violation of federal laws, a violation of the Federal Wire Act. You're not allowed to wager interstate, across state lines, where the federal government's able to regulate. They prohibit that behavior. You certainly can't do it from one state to another, nor can you do it from inside one state to outside the country.
And it is big business.
It is big business.
It's huge business.
And there is a move afoot in the industry. The industry would like to see online wagering, not in the sense of sports gaming necessarily, but in poker. And there is a move afoot nationally to authorize or allow that to occur in states who wish to participate.
Okay, well, we're going to have to leave it at that point just for right now. We have to take a quick break. Coming up next, we will get you involved in this conversation. We're going to take your questions, and our guest, Mr. Dale Hall, will answer those questions. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.